to the You Control You podcast. You already know how we do. We start every episode with what we're grateful for. What I'm grateful for today: God, family, life, being blessed. I am extremely blessed that hard work always pays off. And as I was just informing Corey, I get to coach a couple title fights coming up in a couple weeks. So in the month of October, I will be coaching. The goal is to coach for 5 titles, but for sure 2 and 3 some question marks. We got to put in some work and make it to the title fights. But yeah, hopefully 5 in October. So what a blessed time. Hard work pays off. And I'm here with one of the 2 3-point shooting champions. The other one being Larry Bird. I was crazy when I started doing research. I didn't even know that. That's bananas. 2-time champion, activist, and just a great man overall. I'm here with Craig Hodges. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, brother. First of all, just thank Almighty God for, the blessing of coming across the sacred airwaves, man, and being able to share, some information with some young folks as well as people in general, man, especially during this crazy time that we're in now, man, when it's all about us being in a peaceful existence, man.
Yes, sir. So to get things started, first of all, I'm like a kid in a candy store right now because I grew up, I went to Proviso East High School in Maywood, Illinois. Okay. So I grew up in the area, and it was like, Bulls, Bears, right. Some people, we argue about Sox and Cubs. It is what it is. But right. So when Corey texts me and tells me about this opportunity, I'm like, oh man, yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, and right. So being able to, it's like talking to people that have done something great is cool, but talking to someone that I actually I was a fan of, and it's so dope. So with that said, let me dive right into the basketball stuff and get that more or less out of the way. What was it like for you before anything happened? What was it like playing in the NBA? What was that feeling like?
I think the biggest thing is, like you said, when you were talking about your boxers, I was thinking about how important, oftentimes we get stuck into the actual physical movements of whatever sport we're in, but oftentimes we forget how critical the mental part is. And, I was blessed to have Steve Fisher as my high school coach, who coached the Fab Five in Michigan and coached Kawhi Leonard at San Diego State. And I had him for 3 years as a high school student. And the biggest part to me that you never know as you're going through the process what's actually being drummed into your mental focus. And for me, it was mental toughness, extra effort. And we saw that everywhere, every day for 3 straight years. And, unbeknownst to me, how much that just a mental part where, it comes a point where you get to a challenge and it's not physical anymore, it becomes mental. And we found that out when we played against Detroit, that they were no better than we were. In fact, we were more physically gifted, but we just weren't mentally tough enough to get over that hump. And so when I think about, having a chance to live my dreams, meet so many people that were critical in my development growing up, and having a chance to actually meet them and chop it up with them is something that could only come through me being able to be a student athlete. And I tell the young folks now, yeah, your jump shot could be tight. You could run 109 flat, but it doesn't matter if you're not articulate and on an intellectual level where you can be able to, consider yourself worthy of not just the accolades of being sports, but being a human being that has something worthy to say.
That's huge. And I agree on all that. And it's funny, you're talking about the mental side of it. That is, I tell my fighters, because I coach either Muay Thai kickboxing fighters, MMA fighters. I do have some boxers. And the one thing I talk about is, and make them work on, is the mental side. Like, to the point where I just had a fighter she just sent me her complete breakdown of what she's going to do from the moment she wakes up on fight day. So she understands, it's like, so she can see it, right? And so she shared it with the coaches, but so she could see it, and writing down goals and how important goals are. And every time you have a new fight, it's not the same. You're not climbing the same mountain again. It's like it feels the same in training sometimes, but it's a completely different aspect because you're a different person now and things of that nature. And
you
the
know, and to piggyback on that is one of the things where, you can't, in basketball, it's a transition game.
yeah.
So the transitions are happening constantly. And, playing against Isaiah, playing against, Michael Adams, playing against
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Miller, and, the dynamics are constantly changing, and that you can't have a predisposed notion of this is how it's going to go. It's a
Yep.
matter of you haven't put yourself in so many different situations, both mentally and physically, that
Yeah.
anything that comes at you, you have accounted for. And I believe that's the part for me, both basketball wise and, in life, is being able to have a countermeasure for whatever comes up, and that, it's not nothing new to you. And for me, it's the realization that so many of the steps that we take are guided if you go ahead
Mm.
and allow that inspiration to take place. So, the steps that you take being guided, that you can have confidence that you always got that supreme backup.
Yeah. Oh man, that's amazing. So when did you realize being mentally strong or just having, when did you realize that having that mental ability to overcome trials and tribulations, whether it's in life or in court,
Mhm.
really means something? Like, when did you start to focus on that?
Well, I think, for me, I was blessed to have my granddad gave me all the catcher's gear when I was 6 years old, and told me the quickest way to the big show was to be a catcher. So at 6 years
Mm,
old, it was put into my mind that I was going to be a professional athlete. I played
mm,
baseball, basketball, and tennis. So it was all of them I was decent at, but catching was something that was, it was drummed into me. And the discipline of, having a support base, primary support base, that my uncles were all athletes, but primary was my aunts and my mom and my sister, who taught me the importance of reading and writing. And I read and write before I was reading and writing before I even went to school. So I was
mm.
doing that at the crib. So writing was more fun earlier in my life, so it became a part of me. So, the coupling of student athlete, and when I found out that term, it was endearing to me, that I felt
Mhm.
like, and even to this day, I still feel like that I pride myself on being able to say, my two lanes in life is basketball and history. And as long as I
Mm.
stay in my two lanes, I'm cool. And I'm not trying to go outside of that. But I know that within the context of where we are right now, in the context of what I was taught, and what I was, the opportunities that I've been given through the sport, and that has given me opportunities to be able to affect people's lives in different ways. And I
Mhm.
think that's the part, like, like this, to be able to go into a place and help some young people, and then this comes about. So nothing is
Yeah,
coincidental. It's all a matter of, we take a step and create it, takes however many we need to make sure that it works.
man, that's huge. So you had it instilled in you right away, pretty much at a young age, and with family, with sports. So that's incredible. And the fact
And
that you,
one of the things, not to cut you off, is we can be given a blueprint. We can be given, and see, once again, I'm a baby of the 60s. So I was actually part of a community that raised me. So
mm,
every day I left from my house, my homeboys' cribs, wherever we left from, we always heard, be a good boy. And that,
mm,
how much that meant to us as a community. So that when we went west, when we went across Halsted to go play on the west side, play baseball, basketball as a crew, we always rode as good boys. And
mm.
having that in mind, yeah, we're gonna do the stupid shit that we did, but at the same time, it was always a manageable thing compared to, we would never think in terms of cussing in front of an adult. Where
Mm,
now, where now that is the measure, that's almost the standard of being. When we
Mhm.
talk about, when some of the stuff that I hear when I'm walking through hallways and schools, and when I'm going to work people out, and just hearing and seeing that the level of disrespect we have one to another and even to ourselves is a
Mm.
total difference in the manner in which we carry ourselves. So when I think about, the reality of being a four-time world champion, being Kobe Bryant's shooting coach, and all of this type of stuff, for me, it was part and parcel of that upbringing that laid a foundation so that I would be able to come across these paths and these stepping stones, because they were laid before me by not only our ancestral journey, but by the choices that we get a chance to make in our own lives. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So when we
Yeah.
get a chance to make a choice, and we know that we've been one of the cool things, and I'm laughing because my mom told me this, and I, Lord rest her soul, she said, some things people say, the lessons is the best teacher or whatever. But she says, hey, you can sit back and watch the lessons of somebody that's getting ready to go through what you're going through right now, and you can see their outcome. So some stuff you don't have to
Experience it.
endure. You don't have
Yeah.
to experience it to know what the outcome is going to be. So just be wise enough to, be still enough to be able to read a situation, man.
Man, it's I would love to read a book that you write, because you remind me right now, the way you're speaking, of this book called The Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. Everything you're talking about reminds me of that, and just eh, learning how to master your own mind, master yourself, learning how to stay composed, learning how to pay attention to the surroundings, learn from everything. It's
And I
amazing to hear
think,
you speak.
that's the blessings, and that's the blessings of getting older, bro.
Facts.
You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? The blessing, and to be able to see life in a total different vibe, even to the point where, you know, the ascension of everybody's life, depending on your mentors, man. And I had great mentorship, man. I had great mentorship both in the classroom, in my sport, in the realm of activism, to be able to watch live leadership.
Mm,
I was blessed to see my mom as the secretary of the movement in the south suburbs of Chicago that actually changed and brought in the civil rights for our people, and to be able
yeah.
to have had that at 8 years old, and then to get a chance to go to Long Beach State and revisit it under Black Studies program was, to me, when I look at it, people talk about luck and being, whatever it is, but Mike Singletary said luck is preparation meeting opportunity. And
Yeah.
that, that those things that, like for me, when it came time for me to go to school, I didn't want to stay in Illinois. I wanted to make sure I went as far away as I could, because I didn't want to be one of them brothers who came home on the weekend and stayed home. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we had all of those lessons at the park where brothers went to school, came home. Oh man, the coach this, the coach that. Nah, man, you weren't on top of your books. You stole
Mhm.
something from the bookstore. You did you did something
Yeah.
stupid to eliminate yourself, and that's the thing that I was, my aunt, who's a psychologist, she told me that I was a task-oriented person. So for me, when I look at that part of my life and look back at it, it couldn't be truer, man. That
Yeah.
for me, it was a task of being able to go away from school, go away and be able to stand on my own and be successful to that measure of what success, whatever that is. And once again, I think what we talked about going inward, that measure of
Mm.
success, that measure of success cannot be measured by anybody but you.
Yes. Yes,
You know what I'm
indeed.
saying? And that's the part where it's like, even in sport, it, people ask me, man, what do you miss about it? I miss practice, man. I used to love
Mm.
me and MJ would go at it every day. You know what I'm
Ooh-wee.
saying? So playing in a game against Reggie Miller or somebody else, yeah, it's cool. But man, what I'm getting what I'm getting in practice every day, what I'm getting in practice every day. Likewise, it was always that challenge of being able to say, I'm gonna give you a different look, brother. You can post me one time, I might front you, but I might come around. So it was always that level of gamesmanship and always to play against the best, man, and to be
Yeah.
part of a crew that could actually say, I tell people, we got however many three-peats or whatever, but you can't do that without the first one. And the first one was a measure of mental toughness coupled with we're not gonna lose no more.
Yes, sir.
And that's the part that when you know that you are prepared. And it was so crazy, man. We won our first championship, brother, and I tell you, we probably could have played another 2 months.
Oh wow.
That's how, because the game was over, and it was like, damn,
That's
we still got some energy. We still got something left in the tank. But the whole process of it, man. You don't. I was listening to Tupac this morning, and him saying about how nobody is an individual that becomes successful. Somebody has to mentor you. Somebody's got to mentor you, and we try to make this thing like it's everybody's born in a vacuum of success, and that ain't it.
Nah, that's what Corey said. It's 100% facts right there. Not one man can build it all by themselves.
And that was the wild part. That was the wild part about The Last Dance. How they made that so MJ focused, man, and how the part of the whole mystique of it is how much selflessness that you got from your teammates to allow you to ascend to his airness. You weren't his airness in the beginning, brother. You know what I'm saying? You weren't. We were losing, man. We lost. We lost before we won. So in that process of learning how to win, learning a system that's going to afford everybody a decent opportunity to play the game the way the game is supposed to be played. So it was some not only some sacrifices that he made that he probably wouldn't want to admit to, but that's the part of Last Dance that I didn't see a commitment to how important the system was to him winning championships and him being in that category of being a GOAT because of the way we won. We won, not he won.
Yeah. That brings up a interesting question. How big was moving from the open give MJ the ball type system, free flow of Doug Collins to the triangle offense? How big of a change was that?
Okay, the biggest part, like we say, Doug's system was this: old school. If something works, stay with it. Okay. So if you came down and you scored a bucket, whatever that bucket was scored, you got 2 more opportunities to do that same thing, whether you score or not. So you're getting 2 trips. So if MJ went on a roll where he hit 1 bucket, now he got the next 2 trips. He hits 1 out of 2 of those, he got 2 more trips. So he's getting 5, 6, 7 possessions in a row because he's scoring every other one. Now that went for everybody. So that went for everybody. So if you scored a bucket, the next 2 trips was yours. So that was, in parts of it was love, but in isolation basketball, it's too easy to guard.
Yeah.
So within it being turned over to Phil understands this, man. And I tell people this about Phil Jackson. He's the greatest manager of people I've ever been around. He realizes what everybody in his circle, what their highest potential is and what they're lacking in. He makes sure that all the lacking part is never brought to public display. Likewise, don't diss him publicly because he's not going to diss you. So if you make a mistake, he's not going to roll you in front of masses. He's going to talk to you in your ear how stupid that shit was you just did. Okay. And then he's going to come back, but he's going to make sure that he gets you back in a position where you can prosper. And one of the things that people don't realize is that it was Tex Winter and myself who taught my brothers the triangle, and so when we look at why no one is using the triangle, nobody wants to hire Craig Hodges. You follow me? So when I hear LeBron James and I hear Byron Scott. I saw a thing with Byron Scott and Brian Shaw. Brian B. Shaw played in the triangle. He understands the nuances of it. But once again, when he got the job, they told him, don't bring that here. So, and once again, how good do you want to be? If we run in what you want me to run, but we're not winning, what are we here for? And that's my position with the Bulls right now. You have someone who can give y'all information that will definitely make you a playoff contention team. Guarantee you. I guarantee you give me 2 years with the worst team in the league, with the talent that, because this is the crazy part about the league now. The parity in it is close. It ain't like nobody is overwhelming, man. It's like, you feel me? Everybody running the same garbage. You follow me? So to me, it's like the best explanation I've heard about the way the game is played now was from my boy Kobe. Kobe said that the way they playing the game now is accidental basketball.
Yeah.
And see, triangle ain't that. Triangle is a system. Systems win championships.
Yeah.
Okay? Systems win championships over time. Ask Bill Walsh in San Francisco. Okay?
Yeah.
You feel me? Ask Popovich. Ask Steve up in Golden State.
Yeah, Bill Belichick.
Both of them popping off triangle. They biting off triangle. You feel me? But they just using the portions that are good for the players who can do certain things. The whole complement of the system uses 5 players. So when I look at this whole positionless basketball thing and they telling me it can't be beat by 5 players playing in a system, that's madness.
Well, yeah, they now I really wish I could remember the interview, but I just heard basically people in the NBA or ex-NBA players talking about how the NBA doesn't want to go back to a system like the triangle because they're worried that enough points won't be scored. They're worried about this. They're worried about everything but.
You know the funny part about that? Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers.
Oh, yeah, the
numbers ain't changed. The numbers just coming in a different way. The numbers are coming in. This is what their problem is. Okay. It was sports entertainment. Now it's entertainment sports.
Yeah.
So
that's across the board.
If we can have the ooh, thus we have the analytics. We want a 3-point shot or we want a dunk.
Yeah.
So basically you want Y2K in the NBA as opposed to NBA being the NBA, and y'all bite off of that video game job like you want to, but you're changing the game into video game. So when I saw that whole thing down in the bubble, that looked just like a video game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did.
It was a video game.
Yeah.
You got all this guys streaming because you can't have fans. I'm like, come on, man. Once again, it is a capitalist organization. It's a good old boys club. The way, if you look at the charter for the NBA, it's so loosely knit. Okay? It's a friendship boys club and it's a billionaires thing. So I'm waiting to see the outcome of this with Kawhi and this whole thing with the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? To see who's going to get left holding the bag and to what level.
Well, if anyone can talk about things like that, it's definitely you, because how would you describe your departure from the NBA? Instead of me putting words in there, how would you describe it?
And see, I have something that I'm working on right now that is so powerful that it's funny. Okay, because I never, when I went to the White House in 1991, we won our championship in June. June 15th, I think we won our championship. I was thinking that we were getting ready to go to the White House the next week or so. Okay. So a sister in Chicago blessed me with the dashiki. So had we went in June, I would have never written a letter to the president. Okay. So as the summer went on, we go to training camp. And when we're in training camp, they tell us that we're going to go to the White House. Okay. So the night before, September 30th, we're playing, me and my boy playing ping pong. I had a ping pong table in my living room at the time in Northbrook. So we're playing ping pong and it hits me. Man, you didn't wrote letters from the time you was a little boy to the mayor, to the Congress people.
Mm-hmm.
You getting ready to go meet the man.
Yeah.
And I sat down on the steps and I wrote an 8-page letter, handwritten, gave it to him the next day. So after that point, prior to us winning the championship, okay, go back to Detroit kicking our ass. So when Detroit beat us the last time, we all crying like babies in the locker room.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I said, you know what? We need the ancestral spirit because we ain't got enough heart. So that stuck in my mind until the next playoff. And the next playoffs, every game I wore a dashiki, every single game. So it wasn't new. It wasn't new to anybody that was with the squad and traveling with the press or whatever, to the point where in sports we're ritualistic. So when I wore the first one and we won, everybody in the organization, Hodge, you got another dashiki? Man, I got enough of these for 365 days, bro. So let's roll with it. That ain't no issue, man. Let's roll with it. So it became a thing where, okay, Hodge, yeah. So now we win and we go to the White House and I wear a dashiki, but now it's on the international stage.
Yeah.
Okay. So the optics of it was this black militant showing up at the White House. I told our press person that when we got to the airport, I told him I had a letter for the president. And he said when we got to the White House, he would let me know what the protocol was. So when I got there, they told me I couldn't hand him anything personally, but I gave it to his press secretary. And then when I met him, I told him I wrote a letter to him, and he was surprised. You know what I'm saying? And he said he appreciated. That's what I tell people. To me, Bush was cool as a fan. All right. He didn't do you feel me? So I accept people at face value. Now, what you're doing in the meetings and classified settings, that's on you. But so when I wrote the letter after that, mind you, I was the 8th player on the team and minutes played, points scored, and the like, won a 3-point contest, my second one at that time. And I went from that to being actually my contract year was 1992. So the Bulls take me down to 12th player on the team. I win another 3-point title. We win another championship. I'm an unrestricted free agent with 10 years of service. So I'm at the highest earning potential in my career, thinking that, okay, this is time when we're going to be able to do some things. All right. Unbeknownst to me that the die had been cast because it was set in stone that I was not someone that you wanted in your locker room. I was a locker room lawyer, not to say, come on, man. If you look at my history, I was player rep for every team I played for. Okay. I was player rep as a rookie. That's unheard of. So for me, it was always a matter of me being a good teammate. So when I wrote the letter to the president, it wasn't about me trying to get paid off of this letter or anything like that. And I'll make sure that I get you brothers the letter to see it. But now, this is the cold part. I wrote the letter to the president on October 1st, 1991. I didn't find out that they had written me back until this year, brothers.
What?
Okay. Let's leave it at that. Now let's leave it at that. Okay. And I want to leave it at that because that's where we got to leave it for now. But we control right?
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and that to me is the part where when I look at how everything in my life has been guided, man. So the steps like that, the fact that it's been over 30 years, you follow me? The castigation, the reputation destroying, I had at least 5 more years to hoop. You know what I'm saying? So from that standpoint, I was hooping in the summer leagues against Tim and all the brothers, getting my 20, getting my 30s. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a matter of me not being able to play anymore. It was a matter of them making a point to say that. And then, the cold part about their response, it would have put me in a position where I was a pen pal with the president and I had opened a dialogue of things that needed to be opened about. You know what I'm saying? And to see how, what was the chain of command? What was the chain of custody of my letter? Follow me? So
Yeah.
there are things that have to be answered on a couple levels. And that's why I'm kind of, have to be kind of leery, not leery, but somewhat mystical about this shit, because I
Yeah.
want to make sure that it's not taken out of context and it's put in a timely manner. And that's me once again sitting down like I've been sitting down the last 2 weeks writing again, because this has to be done in book form.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know,
Mhm.
could you sum up what was in that letter that you wrote
Yeah.
and gave to the
So
president?
yeah, it was actually, I got it here, but anyway, it was basically asking to consider the issues of poor people, Native Americans, and homeless, and last but not least, Native African Americans. And it spoke to the point that not everybody would get a chance to come here and speak to the most powerful person on earth, and getting a chance to do so, I wanted to take the responsibility on behalf of those who wouldn't get a chance to come, and basically ask you to think about them and what their needs might be, the same way we think on foreign policy. And that should anyone that should be eligible for help and aid and assistance, it should be African Americans who help build a country. And we did it for no cost, and we still struggle under the guise of white supremacy racism. And likewise, I said that, at that time, that was 1991. And I think we had something like 700 murders in the city at that time. And that's what I was speaking to. I was speaking to the fact that, we need help in programmatics. And once again, I wasn't begging. And I made that clear that I'm not begging for anything. I'm just saying, when you consider the issues of the African Americans, that should be first on the list for aid and assistance of anybody in the world.
That's crazy. That's something that you would think that a professional organization would want to support. The fact that you are, instead of going to the media, instead of going to this person or that person, you took the time to write your own letter, present it to the quote unquote man in charge, and like that's something that you would think a professional organization would get behind, because it's like, yeah, this was done in a way that makes sense, speaking about these issues, and it's so mind-blowing, and it really highlights again what you talked about as far as entertainment and sports.
One
Where,
of not to break you off. One of the things, like I said, I've had a chance to meet, my mentors from afar, Dr. John Carlos, um, interviewed him for my documentary, and he said that when he saw me go to the White House, that was one of the seeds they had planted, and that was totally true, and that he explained to me that what myself and Mahmoud Abdul Rauf didn't have was a movement.
yeah,
That there was a movement in 1968, and they were caught up into that movement. There was a movement with Colin Kaepernick, but
yeah,
in between, there was no movement of Black people or any consciousness going on.
yeah,
And that's what I tell people, from 1968 until Colin Kaepernick, there was a vacuum of consciousness, that it was athletes and entertainers were apolitical. We made sure that we made our money before we opened our mouths about anything.
yep,
And when we did open our mouths, it was under anonymity of foundational works. So, yeah, I'm doing something, but I don't have to be visible. No, you have to be visible, because we need leadership. We're different than other communities.
yeah,
Other communities have human rights. Other
yep,
communities have national rights. We are people that have, and this is the wild part for me in all of this, is that the point where we are now, we can no longer say that resources are an issue. One athlete can change the condition of our people overnight. One. Not a whole bus load of us going to a game when we're talking about 10 brothers on the bus going to the garden. It might be 2 white boys on the squad, but see, once again, now the European game is coming and taking over. So when is the last time it was a brother that won MVP in the league? Steph, LeBron, when was that? Shit, the last 5 I know was Jokic got a couple. MB got one. Giannis got one.
Yeah.
The young boy up in Canada just got one.
Oh yeah. Gilchrist.
Yeah.
So what that shows me is that the fundamental principles of the game is not here no more. We got Amateur Athletes Union, AAU. Okay. Okay. So now we are focused on athleticism. We can jump out the gym, but we have our work habits and our work ethic and the process are as little or none as far as concentration is concerned. I ain't got time for that fundamental old school shit. And that's what I run around. When I run across these young brothers, and I'm laughing because I'm like, you got a personal trainer, you got a handling coach, you got this coach, you got that coach. But now, let me and you be involved in this little situation for 10 seconds where you run by me and I drop a ball on you to stop your movement. And then you flinch like, man, okay. So the physicality is lacking because you don't want nobody to touch you. You want to be able to just do this thing like Y2K and dribble around. The wildest part now, man, if you ask a young brother and a one young sister, what is a triple threat? You ask them, what is the first threat? They're going to tell you pass or dribble. They're not going to tell you the first threat is to score the basketball. So if you ask them to get in that triple threat position, their ball ain't out in front of them ready to shoot. Their ball is under their hip. It's back here. It's ready to go into that thing. I'm like,
that bag.
I'm like, okay, you going into your Kyrie bag or you going into your Jason Tatum bag? Oh, what bag you in today? You know?
Yeah.
And can't shoot your way out that bag.
Oh, I used to love hooping with folks at the park that could dribble all day and just brick. Oh man, I'll let you dribble all day if you can't shoot that ball. That's easy money. I'm not even a hooper like that. That's easy money.
And the funny part now is, they so enamored with their handle that they'll break you off and have a free lane and come back to you with their next movement.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them, in the league, this is the league mantra. Create, eliminate. Create space, eliminate the defender. Period. No wasted motion. I don't need to shake you 15 times and get a ooh-wee moment. I just need to create a 3 feet of space away from you and let this thing go, and I'm good.
It sounds like the reason why we were laughing so hard is because when you started talking about that, listening to Corey talk about coaching AAU, it sounds just like that. And it's funny because we were discussing all this, and I'm like, I don't know how basketball is like this so much, because when I look at football, like I was a big football dude. So it's like I played football my whole life. I got a 15-year-old son that wants to hoop, but he's really good at football. So everything he's grinding on that. And then I look at fighting, and it's like we spend so much time working on the simple things and the fundamentals and don't get caught up with making it. To me, if you do it right, that looks pretty. If you do it technically sound, if I throw a punch and this shoulder rolls to my chin and I'm protected so you can't hit me, I'm good. If I slip a punch and it narrowly misses me and my shoulders roll perfectly, that means you're open all day. I just created all the space that I needed, and now it's going to pop, pop, and it's going to be game over. And it's like working on those small things to be great instead of like, oh, let me do something that looks so pretty and put myself back in danger. I don't understand.
Yeah, and that's
basketball seems funny to me that way.
And that's the wild part is, is the fundamentals, man. Like we say when we golfing, it ain't no picture on the scorecard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it ain't gotta look good. It's just gotta be effective. And
yes.
That's the part. That's the part for me with these young folks is that everything has to be, oh, I broke your ankles. Oh, I did this. And I'm like, brother, even like with the players that I'm training right now, one of the keys for me is I tell them if we working out and then you go into game situation and then you doing all these histrionics, man, you're gonna have a problem. So if we shooting threes in practice and now you go into scrimmage and you make a three and you start doing signals with your fingers and your hands, hey brother, we got a problem because you're not concentrating on getting back in the defensive model that we need you to get into, and that this is a transition game. It's not a transition from you making a shot to you celebrating. No, it's a transition from you making a shot to you becoming a defender. You know what I'm saying? And that the whole followers, everybody has histrionics because I have to have so many followers and I have to make sure that I identify clearly who I am so that I'll create more followers for me. So everybody has some type of something that they do to prove I just made a basket. I just dunked on somebody. I have to, and my thing is, okay, you do all of that and then you lose by 30.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, I watched the game last year and I laughed my ass off. I'm like, they came down, they shot 5 straight threes and nobody made a bucket. and they were still, it wasn't no timeout called. No. And I'm like, whoo-wee. It'd have been lovely to play in this day because I couldn't even imagine guarding Isaiah right now. When I knew that Isaiah was going to bring this thing down to the wing first and look down at a James Edwards and play, okay, that was going to happen first. Now, if he didn't have that, now you're going to get a screen coming either from Mahorn coming from the top or James Edwards coming out to give him one, okay? Now the game is like, shit, Zeke would have dribbled all day long. You think about it, they talk about Ja Morant dribbled how many times in a game? I mean, it was ridiculous. It was something like it was over 300 times in a game, man. You stop and you think about that. And I was like, when I think about just the bad boys backcourt, when they were dribbling that thing down and they were going into effective movements, it was no wasted motion. Now there's so much wasted motion. A guy come down, dribble to one side of the court, come call for a screen and roll, dribble back to the other side. Yeah. Now it's only 8 seconds left on the shot clock, so I got to launch a three.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of the things as a coach always talking about win as many battles as you can so you can win the war. You don't have time to sit here and worry about the battle you lost. It's if I take a punch, I can't stress about the punch that I just took because there's more coming and I got to deliver something. If I land a shot, I can't worry about the shot I just landed because the war isn't won yet. They're like, we haven't won the war.
You know the wild part with this generation, though? I guarantee you, a lot of your boxers or your MMA fighters, they've been watching highlights.
Okay? Oh, yeah.
So now, when they watch the highlights, they are watching success, okay?
Yes.
So like with my players, the ones that have been with me a while, they're over it. But some of the ones that are coming in, they've watched so many highlights of Steph Curry, okay? It'll come on ESPN. Steph Curry had 35 tonight, and they'll show Steph Curry hitting 8 straight J's, okay? Yeah. They don't show the 15 that he missed.
Yeah.
So all they're seeing is these makes. So when they miss a shot, it's like the world is over. And it's that whole mental of it that, no, man, if that thing doesn't do what I wanted, I don't even use the term miss. I say when it doesn't do what I want it to do, I correct it.
I like that.
So when somebody says, oh, man, you just like I would be when I was shooting coach with the Lakers, I shoot with them guys all the time. And Ronnie Turiaf, he would be the main one. You ain't going to make every shot. I say, well, I ain't never missed one. He's like, you just did. I said, that's what you saw. I didn't see that. All I saw was the correction that I got to make. I ain't see what you said. So you seeing something, you seeing an aberration. I don't fucking miss, excuse my French. I don't miss.
I love it.
Leave that
I
alone.
love that so much. That's a great mentality to have. So I don't make fun of Corey, but I tell him that I'm very blessed, and I keep talking about it. Like, I get to punish people. Like, if you don't do it correctly, there's repercussions. First of all, you might go home bloody that day, or I'll just have you doing burpees and get ups, and I'll make your life hell.
If you do that with basketball players, you won't have a team.
That's what I make fun of. Yeah, that's exactly why I make fun of. So that was to my point. How do you create this mental toughness in a time period where people run away from that, or that's looked down upon? Like, you can't. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it's like this. One thing, Don Nelson's crazy as hell as a coach. Okay, and when I got traded to the Bucks, Terry, myself, and Ricky Pierce, I got there for the second practice, and I see Ricky and Terry on the elevator when I'm coming to the hotel checking in, and they say, "Man, Hodge, this cat is crazy." And I'm like, "Oh, it couldn't be that bad, right?" So go up and meet Nelly, and he was like, "Yeah, I could have made the deal for you a year ago, but they didn't want to. I could have made the deal for Terry and Ricky a year ago, but they didn't want to put you in. I think you got a long career. But the key I wanted to ask you, can you handle somebody cussing you out?" And I started laughing, right? Man, I got to the gym that night, bro, and it was the absolute worst practice I ever had in my life, to the point where after 30 minutes, I told Terry Cummings, "I'm getting ready to ask to be traded, bro." You feel me?
Yeah.
It was 30 straight minutes of me doing nothing but defensive slides. Okay. So now that training camp was 30 straight days of 2-a-days. 3.5 hours each session. Okay. Now, today's NBA training camp is no more than 7 days.
Wow.
They can't work more than 3 hours, which is including meetings. They have to be in and out of that building in 3 hours, bro. Now, another cold part is they do not scrimmage during the season. So there's no way for you to take nobody's spot. Okay? So now when we look at the toughness of this thing and how do we build that? Don Nelson told me one thing. He said, "Man, when the way you want to break your team is you make them hate you."
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you get them hating you, you know you got a squad.
Yeah.
So when I coached my high school team, I was never close to them in their proximity. I'm standing on the sideline, y'all ass on the baseline, and I'm at half court. And I'm straight. I was on them so hard, I would have to leave the gym and go laugh at myself because that wasn't my character.
Yes. I've been there. I've been exactly. Yep, I've been there.
My character.
Yeah.
Because I was getting ready to crack up while I'm in there, but I can't let them see that. So I gotta go out and come back and tell my son, "Yo, handle this, man. I'll be back." You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that's funny.
Because the thing is that when we grew up, they ran you to death. That was our whole thing, man. You trying to run me to death, man. You feel me? Where now it's a thing where this generation has been so coddled that you have to find a niche to get through. This is basketball. Where you at? Yeah, you can slap the shit out of.
Yeah.
Okay, but me and my boy, we can't do that because
that's why I think it's funny. Y'all can't do. Y'all stuck.
but once again, when I go back to my upbringing, man, my uncle was in 1962, 63. He led junior college in scoring 2 straight years. Okay. And he would take me on the school ground, man, when I was like 7th grade, and he would actually punish me. I mean, bow me, bow me in the temple, bow me in the neck, and have me walking home, and he'll make me dribble all the way home. Don't let your ball down. So I'm dribbling the whole way home and crying and shit. And he'll tell me, as soon as we turn the corner, he'd be like, "All right, sit your ass out here until them tears go. If you go in the house and act like I done did something to you, you ain't going to no more games." And I sit there till I got myself together. You know what I'm saying? But that's that part where, even to the point where the physicality in the game compared to when we played is totally different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a different, it's so you have to try to push them buttons, always knowing that, man, it's something inside these young folks that they need discipline. They crave discipline. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Because one thing that you'll notice, even in your what you're doing with your fighters, man, is that you give them that discipline, or you give them a taste of it, and then you tell they ask to go home. They'll be back tomorrow.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And
Always.
that's
Always.
the way I always do it. Probably it'll be 40 minutes left in practice, and I'll make their ass get on the line and run 5 suicides and go home. But we want to shoot. No, go home.
Mm.
Go home. Now, when y'all come back tomorrow, first thing we starting off with suicides. What, coach? Yeah, we starting off with suicides tomorrow because I know y'all gonna want to play after that. You feel me? So now
Yeah. Yeah.
we gonna get in shape. If nothing else, we gonna be in shape. And that's the part where I think the discipline comes in, is that half of these children don't know where that wall is. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Oh man. Yes. Yes.
They
That's
don't know
something
where the wall is.
we talk about that on here often. And it's something,
Mhm.
because Corey coaches, I coach, like it's something, it's a conversation that we have on a consistent basis, and it's about pushing that wall. I mean, all the moments you just described made me think about like ripping belts off the wall, because I was like, they weren't doing their job right, and I walk out and I just look at my wife. I was like, did I overdo it? That's kind of fun. Like I was just laughing because
Right.
I had to show them something because they just weren't doing their job. And I'm like, y'all don't realize you're gonna get hurt when you walk in these situations.
Yeah,
But
man. Yeah,
it's
man.
it's always pushing people to the next level. I don't know how I don't know how baseball or basketball or sports like that, where it's not as physical. In football, you can still punish them.
Yeah.
There's a
And
punishment.
wild, it's wild, like you say, you control you, right? So Phil Jackson, once again, like I said, best manager of people. So when we're in the 90s, and then I'm with him in the 2000s, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And to see the difference. Man, the first day I got on the Lakers, I got to the Lakers for training camp, and it blew my mind. Nobody carried their own bag.
Mm.
Nobody had to worry about any gear. You just had to show up. They got shoes, they got all that. And I was like, wow, this has changed. Then to see, like, okay, Phil got to a point where he's like, the last year, he's like, okay, come to training camp. He's like, right now, I just passed by a mailman. I just passed by people standing on the corner getting ready to go to work. They got 8 hours. But you know what? I only can have 3 hours with y'all. And y'all gonna be here for every minute of that 3 hours. He said, think about it. He said, I want y'all to actually think about what you have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want you to think about what you have and what you make from this. I want you to put in the time that it takes to be professional about it.
Yeah.
And that's the part that, whenever even with your fighters, tell them that when you put that pro in front of your name, that means something. Whether you're a lawyer, whether you're
Yep.
a plumber, you're a pro at it. And that
Yep.
means that you have put in some time. First of all, you put in time with that point that we just discussed, that point where you didn't know Jack, and somebody had to discipline you into knowing. When you came to work or to practice thinking that I got to show your young ass that you don't know nothing.
Yeah.
And to be able to go through that process, to the process of being able to humble yourself and say, man, you're right, coach, I don't know Jack. Give me what I need to know. Now we ready to roll. Now, once you get to that point, now you can control you. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yes.
so many times that we're not in a position to control ourselves because we haven't done enough study to know what control is in this position, and when this is happening, how do I control myself in different realms of this thing, man? And that was the coolest part about Black Studies for me, is that it taught me that you can never go into this world and not have some type of perspective on what it is you're facing. So if you're not researching, if you're not researching things across the board, not just in the area of what you think you want to study, and that's the cool part of history, that it rewards our research, man, across so many different areas. And that in that we can become better makers in the choices that come before us, man. And that it becomes a reality that, you know what, I do control me, and that it's not just a mantra that coach is trying to get through to me. It's a reality that, how do I go about that? And then once again, like we said, and I was laughing, and we were laughing about, that's what age gives you. Age gives you that experience to be able to say, now I know what I can control and what I don't have no control over. So that which I ain't got no control over, I ain't worried about how another brother is shooting. I know how I shoot.
Man.
I know how I shoot. And I'm not concerned about, what Donald Trump is doing. And like I'm telling my people right now, with this whole geopolitical thing going on, we're in the best position we ever been in since our ancestors came here, because our ancestors on the mainland, on the homeland, is doing their thing. And then now the resources are back in the hands of our people. So as we sit here today, when we say you control you have a choice of whether you roll on freedom or whether you roll in the system. And if you roll on freedom, you become an entrepreneurial in your mind and in the coalitions that we build. Who are allies? Who are allies? Right now, we are at a point in our history at better than any other point to become unified. But there's a certain measure of us that is still chasing that billionaires club thing. You know what I'm saying? That we come out of competition. We come out of entertainment. Now we want to see if we can be on Forbes 500 list. And that's not even in our nature, man. It ain't in our nature not to share. That ain't even us, man.
Man, this is so dope. You just thank you for saying all that, and it just hits home in a major way. So this is my last question for you. But I am saying I would love to do this a few more times.
And you know what we need to do, what we have to start doing too, brother, is that we got to start doing them both live with people for question and answers and streaming. Because now more than any other period of time, this medium, and I laugh about it, and I say it all the time because once again, I'm in that generation. Gil Scott told us that the revolution wouldn't be televised, but he didn't say anything about streaming because he didn't know it.
I'm with you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, I just thought like this part doesn't even have to be in the podcast. I'm literally thinking about something Corey and I were talking about, because I do speak, like I do motivational speaking, and it would be cool to do that event and have you just be there. And it was like, it was going to be a free event. And so it's like, I just wanted to talk to people, and you bring so much more knowledge and wisdom because of age. Like I appreciate that, and I respect that. I respect, like you got almost 20 years on me. Like I respect that very much. So my last question, what was your you control you moment where you were like, okay, I need to take control of this here. I'm steering the wrong way. I need to take control.
Check this out. When I didn't get a contract.
When
I didn't get a contract, brother. I've been hooping since I was 8 years old, formally. When it ain't no hoop session going on in October. Okay. At that point, I was clinically depressed. All right. Now, the thing that control you talk about was me going back to college. All right. I got Message to the Black Man again. I read that again. And I read The Black Man of the Nile Valley again. And I stayed on them. Because for me, it's the realization that I don't have control over what and how their industry respects or disrespects me. What I have control over is whether or not I stop because of them. So during that period of time, my sons were growing and they were going in their teenage years. They want to hoop. So when I would send them off to school, I would read, take my butt to sleep, depressed, wake up at time to go to practice with them. And to this day, they say, man, Daddy, you used to be on us like you was playing against Isaiah. And I said, I was every day. Every day. I was going at them young boys so hard that I was probably getting damn near 150 points against them every day in practice. Because I wasn't passing to nobody. I was trying to dunk on people. I was doing stuff that was totally out of my character, but it kept me afloat.
Yeah.
Because I'm a student athlete. So I can study in the daytime and come hoop with y'all and keep it moving. And if something comes along, something comes along. You know what I'm saying? But it was never a point where I said, you know what? Y'all won. No, ain't no way. Ain't no way, because we know that the battle that we fought, and see, that's another thing, brother, is that it ain't no more terms. We in a new terminology now. We're in a victory mindset. If you ain't in a victory mindset, you're not gonna win.
Yeah.
So every championship Phil Jackson won, it was one word for every year: ring. So when we got together, 1, 2, 3, ring. That was it. That was it. And we got a ring at the end of that thing. So the mentality of knowing what it is to win, and that my people haven't never felt what it's like to win. We have to put that mentality of first. Winning is in your mentality first before it happens physically. And that winning mentality has to be one where we unify ourselves with ourselves, not because, and see, once again, the cool part of unifying with ourselves is so many other races and ethnicities gonna want to kick it with us because we the people.
Yeah. Always. Every day of the week. Every day of the week. Man.
So yeah, man, it's brother, it's on, man. And this is, like I said, nothing is coincidental. It ain't coincidental that I was in what is it, Stoughton?
Yeah. It's
Madison, yeah.
Yeah, Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah.
So in that area, that's, and then like you from Proviso East. When you said that, first person I thought about is my boy Shannon Brown.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
Because Shannon was with me in LA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
him and D Brown came up, like D Brown went to Illinois, Shannon went over to Michigan State. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And it's so funny, like we talk about the fundamentals. Shannon could not understand why he wasn't getting no run, right? Because he would do crazy shit in practice.
Oh, yeah.
And it'd be like, gotta play him, right? So Phil tells me one day before practice, get with Shannon on the toss back. And I knew what he was saying right away, right? So we're in the film session, and it's a portion where Shannon makes a pass, right? And Phil tells me, yeah, you got to get with Hodge, right? So he comes out, and I told him, he's like, man, what do that mean? I said, dude, let me tell you why you ain't been playing. You haven't been playing because you cannot make a pass, a transition pass from the left side of the court, from the right side of the court, and make that pass left-handed. Okay? Every pass, and now you know how cold Shannon was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You drafted and all this. Every pass Shannon made was almost a chest pass. I don't care where it was going. It was coming from his waist. And I'm telling him, come on, bro, get on the toss back. And then once he got on it, he was playing right away after a week. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, dude. And it's so many brothers that come into the system and think the system is going to change for you. No, Phil ain't gonna change. Phil ain't gonna put no tweaks in it for you. He might put a tweak in for Kobe, MJ, because we need them to score. But tweaking on just out of the system now, bro. Let's learn this shit, and you're gonna get some great opportunities. And once he got into it, man, sky was the limit, man.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. But thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate you so much. And like, whether we come there or you come up here, like, we'll make that work, because we're all about.
One of the things that one of the things that I'm working on and going to work through are, I would like to, if y'all could, get me in touch with the Black Student Union at Madison.
UW?
Yeah,
UW Madison? Yeah.
yeah, because that's one of the things. That's what I'm working on, is being able to utilize the Black student unions as a vehicle to unify folks. Through mental programs where we go back home and we go to work.
Yeah. Now that just made me think of a few people now. Man, yeah. No, we could definitely do that. And
that would be a great venue for us to do the show, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. And that just made, yep. We're on it. We're on our job. And again, thank you so much, sir, for jumping on here. We appreciate it so much.
Big fun, man. Appreciate y'all. Blessings on blessings.
All right, no doubt. You control you. We out.
Peace.